Who's this guy? Keita? This dumpy-looking man is busily hawking a variety of grilled spherical treats of various sizes. Some are sold individually, some are skewered on sticks, and some are packaged up in sets of 4 or 6. A sign on the front of the cart reads Keita's 1 yen yatai. A cacophony of small treat screens are attached to the cart, each playing a different treat show. Interest you in some dango, takoyaki, maybe nice nikuman? That's pork bun, nikuman. That's a pork bun with a Japanese twist. Any kind of tasty Japanese treat you can imagine, I've got it. Maybe some curry fish balls on your speed. Keita will give you your heart's desire, providing that desire is on my menu. There's a guy selling Japanese street food. 1 yen, let me have some dango. Fish balls aren't really my thing. Sure, let's have some dango. Your wish is my command, good sir. Keita deftly pulls one of the dango sticks out of the cart and drops it onto the grill. A small robotic arm slides out from the cart and begins turning the stick until the balls of rice flour are a toasted brown color. Lifting them from the grill, Keita dips the entire stick in a tub of sticky brown sauce before handing it to you. The snack has both a sweet and salty flavor reminiscent of sesame seeds and soy. The balls inside are pleasantly warm and surprisingly chewy, a bit like eating raw dough but without the attendant chalky taste. Keita leans back, studying you intently. The treat projections from his cart cause his face to be lit in a constantly shifting array of rainbow hues. So, what brings you to Wampo Garden, my friend? Somehow I doubt it's just the street food. I'm looking into the killing of Wampon elders. Keita shivers, wrapping his arms around his body. I've been hearing a lot about that. Haven't looked too closely though, it's just none of my business, you know? What can you tell me about the people here? Red techheads, deckers, riggers, treat pirates, and everything in between. If I had to define this place, I'd say it's Asia's mecca for people like us. As for the elders, I can give you the basics. I'm a small fry, so we're not exactly on social terms. Some kind of crazy tech witch. She summons up spirits and casts spells, and works as the spiritual center of the tribe. She's a lot craftier than she seems, too. She has this mother-to-everyone act going on, but I've watched her manipulate people into doing all kinds of stuff they wouldn't normally do, and they thought it was their idea the whole time. Uh-huh. Magically, you mean? No, I don't think so. She's just really good with people. Huh. Yip's a killer. Addicted to cybernetic implants, he's always has to have the newest and freshest gear. The thing is, I've never seen him fight. Kinda get the impression he's a coward. He'd rather let one of his buddies handle the problem than do it himself. Huh. All I know about Tang is that he loves drones and does a little decking. Frankly, I find him kind of boring. All he talks about is neural networks, dark knowledge, and evolution of machine learning. Like I said, boring. Wait a minute. This guy. How does he know what Tang talks about? He said he's small fry. He's selling dango. And fish balls. How does he know so much about the elders? This is not right. What's with all the treat screens? Keita beams and gestures excitedly at them. You like them? I love treat operas. Chinese, Korean, Japanese, Indonesian. It doesn't matter. This way I can watch all of my favorite shows without missing a beat. And I can work at the same time! Pirated treat is my other business. I rip the streams in the Matrix, tap right into the corporate feeds, and resell them on chip out here. Keita's face falls a bit, and his enthusiasm wanes. I wish I could pay the bills, but my food card's a lot better at that. I don't know why, but most of the other Wampons seem to like Sims over Trid. They don't know what they're missing though. One episode of 1,000 Cranes of Autumn and they'd be hooked for life. I'm just at the part where Orin has confessed her love to Takayama. but he's got to get his mech suit out to the front lines on Mars so he can't be with her. Downright heartbreaking, I tell you. That sounds like an interesting show, alright. Eyes twinkling, Kaita leans forward in breathless excitement. Oh, you have no idea. 312 episodes chronicling a noble mech pilot and the tumultuous love affair he has with a space station governor's daughter. The pathos, the majesty. The Battle of Lagrange 1 spans 5 episodes just by itself. For some reason, I guess it just didn't resonate with the wider public, I don't know why. Who doesn't want to see a treat show about giant flying robots, love, betrayal, and spies? I've got to stop myself before I get carried away. Was there something else you needed? Got any thoughts on the murders? Yeah, ignore them. Keita shrugs indifferently. I saw the crowd down at Tong Sensory's carnival earlier tonight, but I didn't know the guy very well. I'm a Trid fan, he liked The Sims, not a lot of crossover between us. See you later, Keita. Keita's a little bit sus. Just a little bit. Seems to not like the elders, right? You see that? He doesn't like elders. And The Sims are his competitor because he sells Trids and he says people like Sims more than Trids. He's a bit sus. Demergo? This man has a tired, world-weary demeanor about him. His eyes track your movements with a penetrating, critical precision. Something about him. The lines about his eyes, perhaps, makes you suspect he's seen a lot of terrible things happen. He lifts his cup of cheap soy calf as you approach. Demergo, let me guess. You're the freelancers the elders are paying to look into the murders around here. That's right. Who are you? Call me Demergo. I'm not one of the Wompons, but I've been here long enough that they don't think twice about me being here. Demergo drains the last of his soy calf in a large gulp. So what have you found so far? Well, what's it to you? Professional curiosity. I used to be with the New York Police Department as part of their thaumaturgical research division. Part of the CSI branch, except I did the magical investigation while the other guys pulled prints and checked blood samples. Really? And what are you doing here, ex-cop? Demergo tosses the soy calf cup towards the nearby garbage can. It bounces around the rim and rolls inside. When I hear about shit like this happening, I keep my ear to the ground. Old habits, you know. So why aren't you investigating it? Because nobody's paying him. You're a long way from home, Demergo. Let's not do that. Let's not do that. He might think this is his home. So why aren't you investigating it? Elden asked me to look into the killings after the first murder. She couldn't afford my fee though, so I took a pass. It's not just the money either. Demergo shudders, folding his arms across his chest. You see that stuff day after day, you pay a price. It eats away at you. Alright? You know what it's like to feel all that sickness and anger every day? To be asked to pick up a murder weapon and relive somebody's death? Feel it going into your back, pleading in the voice of a dead woman for a killer to spare you? These days I'd rather interrogate the living, thanks. Oh, he's the magic guy. So in order to like to the magic guy, he has to experience what happened. So like he lives it. He's not just like looking at the crime scene. If he uses magic, he has to like relive the experience every single time. Alright. That sounds awful. You know what, I'm just gonna tell him that sounds awful. Awful, it's more than awful. It's a goddamn nightmare is what it is. One I couldn't wake up from for a long time. Sometimes you have to cut and run, start fresh. At least now I can pick my own jobs. Alright, fair enough. Fair enough. I can read objects, it's called psychometry. A little trick I managed to pick up. Don't really know how. I hold something, I can tell you what happened to it, who owned it, how it killed someone, if someone loved it or was afraid of it. Useful, but it will tax your heart. And before you ask, no, I'm not going to read anything you find. I already told I didn't want any part of this. You want advice, I'll give you that, but I'm not getting drawn in further than that. So aside from that, is there anything I can help you with? Alright, fair enough. What can you tell me about the Wompoms? I don't know much, even though I've been here almost 2 years. I'm an outsider. They don't really accept anyone who's not much of a tech nut as they are. I'm just a crazy mage that lives down the road. Demergo pauses and looks off into the distance as he collects his thoughts. Yip's got some heavy-duty cyberware, basically an enforcer for the rest of the council. He doesn't seem to set much policy. N's a shaman that worships machine spirits. It's all a bunch of hokum if you ask me. Magic is magic. Whatever you want to call the source is fine by me, but don't ask me to believe in the great spirit of electronics. No, I think everything has a spirit. I think the way magic works is that everything generates a spirit, even electronics. As for everybody else, they tend to be an okay bunch. A bit strange, but that's fringe culture for you. They scrounge tech, rebuild it, sell it off. Some of them even have their own auto-fab shops. Their stuff's pretty high quality too. People from all over Asia come to shop here if they need something rare or unusual. Tight-knit little community, all things considered. What do you know about the murders? They started a couple of weeks ago. Elder Garn was the first to go. That's when asked if I could look into them. He was ripped apart, arms wrenched out of their sockets, skin flayed away with a razor-sharp knife. The rest have been the same. Whatever did it sure didn't care about being a clean death. No... No, the thing that killed them and the thing that flayed them were two different things, I think. Demergo lowers his voice, leaning in towards you so that only you can hear. The funny thing is, the Hong Kong police force was out here a few weeks before that, maybe a month ago tops. I know that doesn't seem like much, but the Wompons don't usually let the police in here. That by itself is odd enough, but it gets even stranger. The officers were loaded for bear too. Big guns and heavy armor with NPC seals, the works. They went into the parking garage near here and there was some kind of gunfight and never made it back out. When the backup showed up, the Wompons chased them away. What? The cops that went in didn't come back out? Why would they let cops in and chase them away? That's exactly the kind of question you should be asking, and that the elders refused to answer when I asked. Demergo shrugs. Go take a look for yourself if you want. Watch out though, a gang's taking up residence in there. Dealing drugs and BTLs. They call themselves the Red Spear. Not too violent if you don't push them, but be careful what you say. Tong wasn't afraid when he died. He was caught by surprise. Demergo arches an eyebrow. That's not what I would have expected, with the amount of mess at each scene. The victims should have left behind a hell of a lot of fear and pain. Are you sure? Very sure. Tong died tonight, so the astral signature hasn't had time to fade. There was only a sense of perfunctory accomplishment. Then it sounds like this wasn't a crime of passion. A planned attack would have had that kind of resonance in my experience. It's possible the gore show is to throw off anyone looking for the actual reason. Yeah. Demergo closes his eyes and starts to nod. Yeah, if I wanted to kill someone and get away with it, I'd try to point the finger at some kind of monster. Demergo opens his eyes and smiles a thin, humorless grin. Basic Investigation 101. It's usually the simplest explanation, but don't discount other possibilities. You think the mess wasn't incidental? It's a possibility. Ask yourself this. If the mutilation happened after Tong's death, why would a killer perform that kind of ritual? Serial killers who engage in that kind of ritual don't feel perfunctory about it, in my experience. It tends to feel more like they're taking communion. It's a religious or sexual thing most of the time. If this didn't feel that way, I don't think the killer is actually pathological. Right. Tong was killed by a bladed weapon, a single strike to the base of his neck. That's a precision attack. Most knife fights end up with a lot of shallow cuts and blood all over the victim and the attacker alike. If Tong was killed by a single strike, he definitely wouldn't have seen it coming, and you can bet your last New Yen that whoever killed him is highly skilled with the blade. That says to me that the attacker is either a professional hitman or a practiced serial killer. It could be both too, assassins don't tend to be the most empathic people. Demergo considers this information for a moment before speaking again. Was the attack a thrust or a cut? It was a slash, why? If the wound was a thrust, your attacker was using a knife of some kind. Anything over about 10 inches would be really hard to thrust with at that kind of range. The neck is too high for a longer blade. If it's a sword, if it's a slash, you're looking at a sword or cleaver attack. Both of those are popular with the triads. They make an awful mess and send a message that they're not to be trifled with. Alright. But it cut the neck clean, right? So it was a very powerful and precise slash. It wasn't like a butcher hacking away. So interesting. Hey, this game is super interesting. What can you tell me about Elder Magpie? The Wampon snorts, shrugging his shoulders. That she was a bitch? That I've never met anyone as deliberately contrary as her? There's not much to say. Nobody wanted to hang out with Magpie. Even though she was the newest elder, she acted high and mighty around everyone. She'd block deals and argue against Nakamura and just because she could. Why was she so contrary? It was just her nature. She loved fights and gossip. Any chance to cut somebody else down, she'd take it. I guess I always figured she had some deep-seated insecurities and covered it up by attacking other people. Alright, see you later. Interesting. We can talk to her. We can talk to him. Min Wong. The owner of this shop barely looks from his PDA while greeting you. His tone is one of immense boredom. Welcome to Min Wong Matrix Materials, aka MVMM. What can I get you? Alright, so he's just a shop. He's not even gonna give us information. The Great Sniffer Dragon Mule Mark 1. Mobile Pharmacy. Doberman Mark 2 Assault. Alright. I don't think any of these drones are better than the ones that, what's his name already has. What's my dude's name? Rector. Drone Control 2. Oh, it's not that good, huh? And Pistol.